It's no coincidence that you're here. It's no coincidence that today, of all days, among all the voices, all the videos, all the distractions, you chose to stay and listen to this. Because maybe, without even realizing it, you've been searching for something for a long time. And I'm not talking about a specific goal, not an object, not a person, not a number in your bank account. You're looking for something deeper, something more essential. You're searching for meaning, and maybe you don't call it that. Maybe you disguise it with routine. Maybe you bury it under responsibilities. But if you close your eyes for just a second, if you disconnect from the noise, the expectations, the obligations, the urgent, you'll feel it. There it is. A gentle emptiness, an echo inside you, a something you can't quite name, but it tells you the life you're living isn't all there is. That this can't be everything, that something's missing, and I get it. Because that absence, it has a name. It's called happiness. But I'm not talking about shallow, fleeting happiness, the kind that helps you escape for a few hours. Not the smile you fake in a photo, not the laugh that drowns at night when no one's watching, not the kind of happiness you can buy, measure, record, or show off. I'm talking about a happiness that has no shape, but transforms everything. One that can't be put into words, but feels like the whole universe goes silent just to watch you breathe. One that doesn't need witnesses, because it happens in the most intimate part of your inner galaxy. That kind of happiness that feels like, after years of wandering through foreign planets, you finally landed on your own world. It doesn't shine like fireworks. It glows like a star that knows its light doesn't depend on anyone else. It's quiet, but vast. It doesn't explode, it radiates, and it arrives not when everything outside is perfect, but when you finally look inward and say, "This is me, incomplete, sometimes wounded, but real," and that's enough to begin. That's when the journey starts, right there. The moment you stop pretending to orbit someone else's sun and decide to create your own path. You stop circling other suns, and you begin to light your own. Because here's the truth no one told you. You don't need to find happiness. You need to activate it, like someone firing up an engine in the middle of space, trusting it'll take them home. And when it does, oh, everything changes. Suddenly, something inside you lights up, like you've lived in black and white for years, and now everything is in high definition. Colors you never noticed before. Laughter that bursts out without explanation. Desire, so much desire. To live, to create, to dance for no reason. To hug without fear. To say, "I'm here, I'm alive." And that alone is worth celebrating. Because when true happiness finds you, the one you lit yourself, it doesn't enter like a whisper. It crashes in like a party. You feel like running, shouting, laughing at all the times you thought life was only about surviving. You want to tell the world, "Look, I finally found myself, and I don't need anything else to be happy." You start to notice things you used to ignore. The taste of cold water, the way a stranger smiles at you on the street, the air on your face when you open the window, the music that moved you as a child. And you move, even if you don't know how to dance, even if no one's watching. You move because your body starts to celebrate what your soul has finally remembered. This is living. And then everything stops being a chore. You start doing things because you want to, not because you have to. You wake up with a spark in your chest. You postpone less, you fear less, you need less, because now you know happiness isn't in what's missing. It's in what awakens inside you when you choose to live with your heart on fire. You realize you don't have to wait for Friday to feel joy. You don't need everything to be perfect. There's no need for a special occasion, no big achievements, no goals checked off, no medals around your neck. No! True joy doesn't wait for an invitation. It can show up out of nowhere as the sun pours through the window and you realize today's coffee tastes different. It can sneak in through spontaneous laughter with someone who makes you feel at home, even in silence. It can be born right in the middle of chaos when you realize that despite it all, you're still here. And that's enough to smile. That's astronomical happiness, not because it arrives wrapped in greatness, but because it lights up every corner of your life without asking permission. because it turns the simple into the extraordinary, because it doesn't need more. It just needs you to be present. And sure, maybe you're thinking, yeah, nice words, but how am I supposed to smile when everything's falling apart? How do I put on a brave face when life is throwing rocks like it's bowling with me? Relax, I get it. This isn't about ignoring pain or being fake positive. It's about reinterpreting your reality, looking at the same problem, but from a different angle. From the angle of someone who knows every fall also opens a new way to rise. Because let's be honest, sometimes life feels like a cruel joke told at the worst moment. Just when you decide to take care of yourself, you remember your fridge is full of cravings. When you finally save a little money, your car decides it wants to sound like a spaceship. Or just when you choose to have a great day. The universe says, interesting choice. Let's see how you handle this. And you think, really, universe? This is how you thank me? But here's the thing. The universe isn't punishing you. It's teaching you. It's preparing you. It's building your character, your patience, your vision. And yes, even your sense of humor. Because if we don't learn to laugh at ourselves from time to time, we end up living with a furrowed brow and a tired soul. And no, it's not about taking everything lightly. It's about not taking everything so seriously. Happiness doesn't always come when everything's perfect. Often, it appears right after the storm, at that first deep breath you take when you let go of the drama and say, well, at least this'll make a great story someday. And it does. Because the best stories don't come from what was easy, but from what you learned to transform, from what didn't kill you and even left you smiling. So, next time something doesn't go as planned, take a pause and ask, what opportunity is this bringing me? Maybe the chance to get to know yourself better, to discover your resilience, to prove to yourself that you can handle this, and more. Or maybe simply to laugh until your stomach hurts. Because yes, sometimes life is hard, but so are you. And when you mix your strength with joy, you create an explosive combination. An unstoppable mind and an invincible heart. That's real happiness. The kind that doesn't depend on the outside, but on your ability to turn gray into color. And no, you don't learn that in one day, but it starts with something very simple. Stop believing everything is against you, and start believing that everything is working in your favor, even when it doesn't seem like it. Sometimes losing something is the only way to gain clarity. Sometimes falling is the only way to see how high you can rise. And sometimes what looks like a curse turns out to be a blessing in disguise. The key is not to give up, not to dim your light, not to forget that joy is also a form of rebellion. In a world obsessed with showing you the bad, you choose to see the good. You choose to see the light. And you know what? You don't need a perfect life to feel whole. You just need to be aware that you're alive, and that truth alone is a miracle. You're breathing. You have a story. You have the power to change it. And you have something no one can ever take from you, the choice of how you interpret what happens to you. You can be the reason someone else doesn't give up. The proof that it's possible. The living example that even when everything goes dark, there's always a spark waiting to be ignited. Can you imagine waking up every morning with excitement, with purpose, with joy that doesn't depend on the forecast or anyone's mood? A joy that comes from within you, that feeds on you and grows every time you choose to live from love, not fear. That's possible. It's not an unreachable dream. It's a bold decision you can make today. And if you still have doubts, look at yourself. Look at how much you've overcome. Look at how many times you thought you couldn't go on. And yet, here you are. Stronger, wiser, more you. That alone is reason to smile. That alone is reason to believe. Because at the end of the day, happiness isn't something you find out there. It's something you ignite from within. And you, who made it all the way here, just have one more thing to do. Don't turn off your astronomical happiness.